is now.
Okay. This meeting is being recorded by the Appointments and Ordinance Committee. If any other person are doing the same, you must notify the chair at this time. Is anyone else recording? I'm seeing none, so if anyone changes that, please let me know. I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:31 on December
9th.
I lost my screen. December 9th via WebEx conferencing system. Counselor Forgy.
Still see she has bandwidth problems.
All right. Counselor Ricketts.
Here.
Counselor Bottomley.
Here.
Counselor Mayo.
Here.
Counselor Forgy is frozen. Are you with us, Counselor Forgy?
I think she just logged off. We'll probably see her pop back in a minute.
Okay, let's see if that happens. While she is logging back in, can I have someone make a motion to accept the minutes from November 11th?
So moved, Ricketts.
Second, Mayo.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes. Are there any changes? Any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public hearings, we have none. We have no motions this evening. We do have a discussion, and Clerk Scott is here to do that with us, and we'll wait a moment to see if Counselor Forgy reappears.
I haven't seen her come back yet.
No, I don't see her either.
Let me check and see if she called me. I have not heard from her either. So just to recap before we get going, Clerk Scott has brought to our attention an ordinance to prohibit the electioneering for all elections at Greenfield discussion. Given that our voting is done differently than it has been in the past, the council was presented the fact that we needed to update or change a bit of our electioneering ruling, and Clerk Scott is going to discuss that with us and talk about the ordinance, which you all received a new strike-through version.
So first of all, my goal.
And as you can see,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I just apologize. I'm going to mute myself because my wife is coming in at 5:30, and the dogs are going to greet her very loudly very shortly. Okay.
So first of all, I don't see that Counselor Forgy has joined us. Just to let everybody know, if I notice that she does join, I will pipe up and let you know. So my goal in putting this forward is to treat whatever early voting location we have currently at City Hall, but it may not always be that. Treat whatever early voting we have as a polling place. We are not currently designated as a polling place. And I want the voters who come to vote here, I want them to have the same ability of entering and exiting the building without having candidates or, those who work for the candidates to be able to try to influence their vote. So Massachusetts law requires at a polling place, which would be our Greenfield High School, that electioneering cannot take place within 150 feet. I would like the same for the early voting location, whether it be City Hall or elsewhere. The initial proposal came through including language with City Hall, since this year was so different than any other year we've had. I recently went through it to try to make it more neutral. And there is also a map attached. It is on page 6, which shows 150-foot perimeter from both the front door of City Hall and the handicap entrance on the right side of City Hall facing the building. So
Yeah.
there's 2 perimeters because those are in non-COVID times, the 2 entrance points to City Hall. This year, we would not have had to worry about the front door entrance. Has everybody had a second to read the strike through that I proposed? If not,
I've not seen a strike through proposal yet, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I can read it if you'd like, or you can
is
take.
it a short one? Is it a short one or
Not
or-
really.
It's not short. It's 3 paragraphs.
Kathy, let me just say that it was sent out as an attachment to tonight's agenda.
And it is
So-
also in tonight's agenda.
and it's in tonight's agenda. So
I saw it as in the agenda, but let me check my email to see if I can pull it up.
So,
Okay.
Kathy, it's only 3 paragraphs. Why don't you just recap it quickly
Sure.
so we have it as public record?
Okay. So the title is Prohibiting Electioneering During Voting for All Elections Within Greenfield. An increasing percentage of Greenfield voters are taking advantage of opportunities to vote in person as allowed and established by the state legislature. Such voters should be given the same right and opportunity to cast or request ballots free of electioneering activity as is enjoyed by voters who cast their vote on the day of the election. Chapter 54, Section 65 of the General Laws of Massachusetts prohibits electioneering, the display or distribution of materials intended to influence the action of voters, at or within 150 feet of the entrance of polling places at an election of federal, state, or local offices. Observance of the 150-foot rule during in-person voting would not unduly restrict the ability of any person to display or distribute campaign messages to prospective voters approaching the city offices. Oh, I forgot to take it out of there. So maybe we'd say approaching the voting location.
Yeah, I think friendly. Yeah, we can make a friendly amendment to change that to the voters approaching the voting location.
Thank you.
Hello,
No.
this is Chris
No.
4G. I can't get in except by phone, but I am here to attend the meeting.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll make a note of it.
Thank you.
No poster, card, handbill, placard, picture, button, circular, or items intended to influence the action of the voter other than those expressly authorized by GLC 54 subsection 65 shall be posted, exhibited, circulated, or distributed within 150 feet of the location of in-person voting for the city of Greenfield, on the walls thereof, on the premises, or within 150 feet of the building entrances to doors to said location. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon passage.
Kathy,
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at my email and the agenda that was for tonight. I don't see the map that you're talking about as to
Okay.
where the 150 feet bring it out to.
Okay, so if you give me just a minute,
Yep.
I may be able to find the agenda and share that page.
Okay. Very good.
I'm
Okay.
looking at it, Kathy. So it is in the agenda that Tammy sent out most recently.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the December 4th one. The December 4th email.
Correct.
All right. Let me check again.
Councilor Bottomley, do you have that in the December 4th attachment also?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're there. I know Councilor Ricketts and I do, and Councilor 4G, I am imagining has that also.
Have it. I've seen it.
Okay, so I've got December 4th's agenda.
It's page 6 of the 6th.
Hold on just 1 second.
No problem. While Councilor Mayo is looking that
Okay,
up,
I
do
got it.
any
I got
other
it now.
councilors?
I got it now.
Perfect. Thanks. Thanks, Councilor Mayo. Are there any other councilors that have any questions for Clerk Scott at this point?
Kathy, can I ask you, is that really a problem that people are coming up to you and saying, I'm being bothered? I'd like to get an idea as to how many people are contacting you and saying, this happened or that happened, and I really didn't appreciate it. I mean, I understand, the static rule at the high school,
Yes.
but the town hall is a different kind of animal, so to speak, because you're doing even in COVID times, we were paying bills and paying taxes and going through the same entrance.
Yes.
Now, I do believe that, if it should be, well, I mean, this is just me bouncing off ideas as, so we have it circled in two different places, and I see the red is from the back door.
Yes.
The yellow is from the. So does that mean that the electioneers are in the middle of the road?
So the reason I'm proposing this is at our November 2019 local elections, during absentee voting, because that was the only voting allowed at that time for that election, one of the local candidates that was on the that was running for office
Yeah,
was standing out in front of City Hall
yeah,
asking people on their way in if they were here to vote,
yeah.
and asking them for their vote.
Okay,
There
I
were
agree that
also
that's not
people-
okay. Yeah.
Okay, there were also people standing out there in favor or in opposition of some of the ballot questions that were on that election.
Same thing. I
Same
agree.
thing, asking people. That's what this was born out of.
Okay.
Clerk Scott, let me just reiterate one point. The
Certainly.
150-foot radius
Yes.
is irregardless of what building it is. That's what this ordinance is calling for. It's saying wherever the voting is taking place,
Yes.
there should be a 150-foot protective area to stop electioneering, regardless of the building. I mean,
Right.
the high school has always been in service while we were voting. People were going to school and classes were happening, and it didn't mean that changed. It only means that you can't, we always had set. I mean, Councilor Ricketts and Councilor Forgy, they remember the days we set up wherever we were told.
Yeah.
We moved around based on that line. I feel that this is you doing your due diligence to protect the voters within statute of Massachusetts election law, and I think this is something that needed to be done.
Right.
And originally, Councilor Mayo, as Clerk Scott stated, it was sent out being as the town hall. But she has since, in that strike through, corrected that to mean any building that the voting is go to. If it goes back to the Grange, if it goes anywhere, that 150-foot circumference to protect the voters.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, as long as that is clearly marked where the 150 feet zone begins. So we're seeing here at the corner that next building, I think that's where Hope, or not Hope, I forgot where the music place is there. Um, uh,
Clerk.
what?
It's
It's the old Clark store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I can see that as long as there's clear markings denoting that, that's where the 150 feet zone is. Nobody's gonna, no, you don't have to worry so much on the other side because that's the middle of the road.
Yeah, I think as our clerks over the years have always done, they were able to express where those boundaries were. Clerk Scott.
So my intention, as we all know, and I don't really want to talk about next year's elections because we're still just getting over this year. But my intention is when papers are taken out at the end of April, beginning of May, because it's just around the corner, when people take papers out, to give them a copy of this ordinance and to give them a copy of the map, because marking this during our local elections is going to be a little bit difficult. I'm not going to be able to go out there every day with blue duct tape or anything and tape it on the ground. So I want to give them the map and show them the areas that they're not able to be in, so that they're aware. And this is new.
Yep.
So if something comes across to me that someone is within within the perimeters, then I would simply go out and talk to them and say, can you move 3 feet more this way? This is what we're trying to do.
Yep. I have no problem with it. It sounds like a sound thing to do. It's what you've done at the high school all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
In these times, no matter where we vote, the rules should apply.
Clerk Scott, as he just reiterated, you have always and the clerks that I've worked with before you always went out and made reference if there was someone in the wrong location or someone,
Yeah.
and then there's been a lot of times I've seen you stop people for wearing pins within the building and such like
Yeah.
that, and that's just the protocol of election, and I think we're all aware of
Yep.
that. Is there anything new from any of the counselors that haven't spoken tonight? Is there anybody questions on this while we have Clerk Scott here?
No, this is good. It's really important because it was very different to have all that electioneering going on right in front of City Hall that time. It was just something we had never seen before. So this is good.
Would one of you like to make a motion to forward a recommendation to full council based on what was read by Clerk Scott
I'll make that motion.
So moved,
Mayo.
G.
and seconded by 4G?
Mhm.
All those in favor of sending a positive recommendation to full council to be added to the next possible agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Seeing none, Clerk Scott and Tammy, when she takes this, so that'll be a positive unanimous recommendation. And I would, as we stated at chair's meeting, like this added to this month's agenda because we have room.
So
If for some reason Vice President Wheeler or President Stemple Ray feels that we're overcrowded, it can be moved to the next month.
Okay.
Anything from any of the other counselors on this issue?
No.
Clerk Scott. You should be a counselor after
No,
this.
thank you. No,
Yeah,
thank
oh,
you.
yeah. Oh,
Okay, no.
all in favor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So, thank you for your time. I appreciate your consideration. I am going to log off. It is going to make someone else the host. Whoever is the host will just have to, close the meeting out when your time.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Take
Good
care.
night.
Okay,
Bye.
good night.
Thanks, Clerk Scott. We'll see if it who it yields the power to momentarily. Oh, it says you're now the host. So that worked out all right. All right. It sent it my way. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is just an update on the review of the ordinances. Counselor Bottomley, Counselor Forgy, you have been given the initial ones coming through. Has that worked out, Counselor Bottomley? Did you receive those in a way that you can review them?
Yes, yeah, and some came in after our meeting, so I think I finally have all of the changes. So
All right, we did receive some more since the last ones now we received, and Counselor Ricketts is my conscience on this. We received some from the Rec Commission.
Yep.
And were there any others that I'm skipping, Penny, that came through as of late?
Was there one from parking or no? Was that?
I can look on that. So
Right.
Rec Commission has not been assigned.
I can do the Rec Commission.
Yeah, Councilor Ricketts, would you like to take the Rec Commission? And if parking has come through, would you like to take a look at that also?
Sure.
Okay. Councilor Forgy, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. Council on Aging is another one, but it might have gone to charter, but most of it belongs with licensing. I mean, with appointments and ordinances. Please excuse me.
All right. I'll take a look at that, Council on Aging.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Ricketts. Here's a situation which I had a conversation in passing with Councilor Forgy. Some things that went to Charter Commission are being kicked back because they're not really charter changes, they're ordinance updates. So anything that's been, the thing that we have to be very cautious of when we're looking at these in review for the counselors that have already been assigned some to review, they have to be changes that have been changed by law or they've been changed by council. If there's something that hasn't been changed in some form, they can't just change them randomly and we accept them. So take a look at that. And some of these things that are charter changes that get kicked back from charter review are going to come to us, and we'll have to take a look at those and then make sure we're following the protocol to see if there are updates to ordinances, which involves the clerk's office and us to make sure that we're not introducing something that has not been seen before or is not law somewhere. If that makes sense to everybody, just keep an eye for that. We don't want to introduce anything new that is not a reason. We want to just make sure we've got everything up to date.
Right.
Anything else from any of you? Councilor Ford?
Yeah. I was assigned licensing as well, but I have to say that I haven't had the opportunity to look at that yet. I'm pretty involved with a couple of other things right at the moment, but I should be able to get something back out to committee for their perusal in January.
The biggest thing, thank you, Councilor Forgy. The biggest thing with this is you are not supposed to be an expert in any of these pieces. I mean, all of a sudden, John Bottomley isn't going to decide that he knows all the DPW law for the state of Massachusetts and waste disposal. But to take a look at it and make sure there's not something out of the ordinary or whatever. Obviously, when Director Werner sends stuff, we're just making sure we're in compliance. Councilor Ricketts?
Yes, I told Councilor Forgy that I would look at licensing too and give some of my background of the things that I've saw in the last few years. And it's just, I mean, I'm on meetings every night. So in January, I'll have at it. It's just like these things have got to slow down a little bit for us. And once we get through the fire station, I think we'll be able to have more time to work on these things.
And I will ask at full council, this was supposed to be a 2020 review. And obviously we had our COVID setback. I'm just going to ask for the council to grant us some extra time to finish up what has been presented to us by the end of the year. I think we're going to have to be very cautious about when we receive things after the end of the year.
Right.
So I'm going to talk to the mayor's office and to the clerk's office. If we've received them before the end of the year and we're in the review process, I think that follows statute. I just have to make sure that if something shows up in January, it's not a review year. So I will check on that and get back to this committee.
Okay.
Also looking forward, let me see. There is really nothing there. Everything else that we are reviewing or looking at has not come to any form of readiness. So I will say that, is there anything in new business anyone can think of?
No, because if I'm correct, Councilor Wheeler pulled the J break, so we don't have that.
Correct.
And so we still have the landlord's piece
Yes.
that's still on the table. And again, I feel like we can't even tackle that till, halfway through January or maybe February. We really should get these other amendments, these others done first, and then we could really get in and tackle that.
Excuse me. I agree, Councilor Ricketts. And that's going to come back, I believe, with some changes, and it's being reviewed, and there's not even a position to speak on that either. And that's why you don't see it on the agenda. We had a few things that were presented, I noticed recently, and I'll take a look at those and see if it's appropriate for future meetings. We had a couple things that have come in from the public with some ordinance questions. So we'll take a look at that. Seeing nothing else.
I do have a question.
Yeah, of course.
This is probably more towards Councilor Mayo. Councilor Mayo, you want to, and I don't know if you plan on trying to bring up the temporary fire station at Friday's special meeting, and I don't know if we ever decided, was that an ordinance or a resolution? What were we going to do about that? Or were we just going to wait till Wednesday council meeting and just vote?
It defaulted to a resolution of which I am going to read on Friday.
On Friday. So you're reading it you're hoping for a vote that night, do you think, or just reading it?
I don't think are we voting on it? We're voting on money.
On the council meeting, the full council meeting.
Right.
I don't think we're voting at special, but I could double check the agenda.
I don't think we are.
Thanks.
I think you're correct, Councilor Ricketts. I think if Councilor Mayo is introducing the resolution, it would be up to the chair of that meeting to decide whether we would take action there because it's only a resolution or wait to full council. That would be my thought.
Right.
I think you're correct, Councilor Ricketts. He might introduce it there, but it would then be voted on at the next meeting. But we'll see how they interpret that. Okay. Thank you for that. Anything else? Seeing none, our next meeting is scheduled for January 13th via WebEx. And it was updated again that we're, given the COVID situation getting worse, not better at this point, there's no plans to change our style of meetings at this time. So January will be a WebEx meeting.
Oh, thank you. The numbers are
nothing's ready to change yet. And let's hope that by spring, we will have a different set of rules and life. Seeing anything else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion, Mayo.
I'll second Ricketts, or 4G, I think, came in first.
Oh, that's all good. Well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, I will close this meeting at 6 o'clock. And I thank you all for participating.